You know, the famous model of HMS Sovereign of the Seas displayed at the National Maritime Museum, the one everyone photographs. Here is the strange part. The model is not the original. The real model, the one built in 1637, at the same time as the ship itself, has completely vanished. No museum has it, no catalog lists it, no collector has ever claimed it. And yet, historians are almost certain it once existed. So the question is, where did it go? To understand the mystery, we have to go back nearly 400 years to a king, a shipwright, and the most extravagant warship the world had ever seen. This model wasn't just a decorative dockyard piece. It was built for a king. In the 1630s, Charles I of England wanted to build a warship unlike anything Europe had ever seen. But before spending a fortune on the project, he wanted to see the ship first. So a presentation model was commissioned. The job went to master shipwright Phineas Pett, working with his son Peter Pett at Woolwich Dockyard. Phineas Pett was one of the greatest shipbuilders of his time. He had survived political scandals, court rivalries, and accusations of corruption. Yet, he still remained the Crown's most trusted naval architect. We will dive deeper into his incredible story in another video. And now he had to build something extraordinary, because this model had one purpose: convince the king to build the most powerful warship in the world. If the model impressed Charles I, the ship would become a reality. And it did. When HMS Sovereign of the Seas launched in 1637, it shocked Europe. This ship was enormous for its time. It carried over 100 bronze cannons, far more than most warships of the era. It had 3 full gun decks, something almost unheard of at the time, and its decoration was absolutely outrageous. The entire ship was covered in carved figures, scrollwork, and royal symbolism. Many of those carvings were covered in gold leaf, hundreds of them. The design style was influenced by the royal court painter Anthony van Dyck, which explains why the ship looked less like a weapon and more like a floating palace. When sunlight hit the gold decorations at sea, the ship literally glittered. Foreigner sailors even gave it a nickname, the Golden Devil. But building this floating monument came at a price, a very big one. The ship cost around £65,000 to build. It was roughly 10 times the cost of a normal warship. To pay for it, King Charles I expanded a deeply unpopular tax called ship money. Even towns far away from the ocean were forced to pay for the navy. People were furious, and this growing anger became one of the sparks that eventually ignited the English Civil War. So, in a strange way, this one spectacular warship helped push England towards revolution. But despite the controversy, the ship itself had a long and remarkable career. Even though it began as a prestige project, the ship didn't stay in harbor. It fought in some of the biggest naval battles of the 17th century. Over time, the ship was renamed Sovereign and later Royal Sovereign. During his long career, it fought in battles such as the Battle of the Kentish Knock in 1652, the Battle of Lowestoft in 1665, the Battle of Solebay in 1672, the Battle of Beachy Head in 1690, and the Battle of the La Hogue in 1692. For wooden warship launched in the 1630s, surviving 6 decades of combat was extraordinary. But the ship's final fate was surprisingly ordinary. In 1696, while undergoing repairs at Chatham Dockyard, a cook accidentally left a candle burning. The ship caught fire, and the mighty Golden Devil burned to the waterline. After surviving 60 years of warfare, it was destroyed by a kitchen accident. But strangely, the ship's story isn't the real mystery. The mystery is the model. Because that model should have survived, and yet it didn't. Even though the original model is gone, historians can estimate what it probably looked like. It was most likely built at 1:48 scale, which was standard for English royal presentation models. That means the model would have been roughly 3 to 4 feet long, a large, impressive display piece. The hull was probably carved from boxwood or fruitwood, both prized for its fine grain. Tiny decorative carvings would have recreated the ship's elaborate ornamentation. Those carvings may even have been covered with real gold leaf, just like the actual ship. The riggings would likely have used silk thread, which scaled much better than rope. In other words, the model would have been an incredible detailed miniature version of one of the most spectacular warships ever built. And it wasn't hidden away in a dockyard. It was displayed somewhere far more political. The model was most likely displayed inside Whitehall Palace in London. This was the main residence of the English monarchy. Foreigner ambassadors visiting the king would have seen it, and the message would have been crystal clear. England intended to become the sovereign of the seas. So the model wasn't just a technical prototype. It was also royal propaganda, a symbol of naval power. Which makes what happened next even stranger, because at some point, the model completely disappeared. There is no document that records the model's destruction, but historians have identified 3 likely explanations. The first possibility is the English Civil War. When Parliament overthrew Charles I, many royal possessions were seized, destroyed, or sold. Objects tied to the king's controversial naval policies would easily have been smashed or dispersed. The second possibility is fire. In 1698, a massive blaze destroyed most of the Whitehall Palace in the Whitehall Palace fire. If the model was still there, it may simply have burned along with the palace. And the third possibility is the least dramatic: time. 17th century models used natural glues, untreated wood, and delicate silk rigging. Without modern conservation, the model might simply have deteriorated over decades and eventually been thrown away. But the mystery doesn't end there, because the model people see today is not the one from 1637. The famous model displayed today at the National Maritime Museum was actually built much later, in 1827. It was commissioned by naval architect Robert Seppings, who realized the original model was already varnished. Shipwrights used the surviving ship plans, engravings by John Payne, and historical descriptions to recreate the legendary vessel. The result is beautiful, but it's still only a 19th century reconstruction of a 17th century model. If the real 1637 presentation model of the HMS Sovereign of the Seas ever resurfaced, it wouldn't just be another antique ship model. It would be one of the most important maritime artifacts in the world. A direct physical link to the birth of England's naval empire. But in a way, The spirit of this legendary ship is still very much alive today. Sovereign of the Seas is actually one of the most popular ships ever modeled. Wooden kits like the 1:78 scale versions from Mantua and Surgo, the 1:84 scale series from D'Agostini, the massive 1:60 kit from ZHL model, and even the classic 1:168 plastic kit from Airfix are all favorites among model builders. Now most of these kits are perfectly historical accurate, straight out of the box. Many are based on the 19th century reconstruction rather than the original 1637 design. So the riggings, decorations, and proportions often need corrections. But that's also part of the fun. For many modelers, these kits are just the starting point, a base for research, modifications, and creative kit dashing to bring the real ship back to life. So if you have built a Sovereign of the Seas, or if you are working on one right now, I'd love to hear about it. Share your experience in the comments or post photos of your build progress on the channel. Seeing other builders' work is always inspiring for the whole community. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.